Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Question Time Live, episode 147. Boom. So, new time. I've been, of course, analysing last week everything I'd said, bits and bobs, and I just come off. I felt quite energized during it, after it, and at the end. And I think it's literally the time of day. So we did it a bit earlier because of the World Cup, but that 6 o'clock slot. And I remember I actually started doing it at 6 o'clock once upon a time and shifted it to 7 because I knew it'd probably be more beneficial for getting more people tuned in. However, it's obviously clearly not more beneficial for me, my mental capacity, physical state, you name it. So rather than piss around too much, so let's see how this goes for a little while. Obviously, ultimately, if you can't join in live, we have got you can watch it, catch up on the channel after. It's all there. If I actually post it enough in advance as well, if you know you can't make it, you can leave a question posted on the page as well. So let's see, but certainly, because I'm still pretty much in the thick of it, as it has been. I've just drifted in from the fish house, and here I am. And I must say, I've just come off the back of quite an interesting call. So obviously, quite late on the number, the landline had rung, and that's like I had a message from Bev, lovely Bev in accounts, and saying that Roy Pillay had run. I thought that name rings a bell. If you're watching this, Roy, hi, it was a pleasure speaking to you. I thought that rings a bell from South Africa. So I've returned the call just half an hour ago, and yes, sure enough, the legend that was back in the days of Peter Waddington. I think one of his elite hobbyists, let's say. Did he say it was 19 grand champions they'd won? Somewhere over in South Africa, something absolutely wild. And that was amazing to, the heartfelt nature of enjoying the content. Some thanks in there for all of it. And nice and fair play. That's some serious commitment in the hobby, Yeah, cool. Absolutely loved it. The madness that is the day-to-day world of this place. So amazing stuff. Before I go into anything else, guys, remember it is Question Time Live. Any questions you've got? There's definitely a couple of rants I could go down. That is a given. We might end up doing that. Obviously, it is a bit earlier, and we don't know if it'll be as many people in. The numbers are building up. Let's wait and see. But if there'd have been a sledgehammer anywhere near me yesterday, it would have gone through 4 drum filters. That I can promise you. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. And there would have been nothing but crumbs left of it all. I am having an absolute mare with them. I've never known anything like it. On top of the leaks, you can imagine what, because they're so fucking sensitive with the water levels, the leaks I've got countering to it. But that's not just the issue. I've got 2 now with seized motors. I've got one that's being defeated by snails once again. And another one, I couldn't actually tell you what's wrong with it. I just can't put any flow. The bottom drain's running free before anyone says a thing, but I can't put any flow through that system. The minute I put any demand on from the pump, the thing just fucks up. They always fuck up overnight. So we're walking in to fluid beds drained, which is obviously killing that side off. The ponds are getting pummeled with fresh water to get water levels back up, get these things operating. It is hell on earth. Absolutely hell on earth. And I'm fucking sick of it. So yesterday it ended off taking me off in a spin because I've got one pond stripped down that we were relining, but But I'm now staring at it, going, I need to do something more with this. Whatever I'm actually going to do as my more permanent solution to fixing these ponds, I need to get it done at this point. Now we're already this far. That's exactly what needs to happen. Just bear with me 1 minute, folks, because we're having a bit of a fish tank drama at home, and don't know if Charlie's forgotten one question time. Yeah, it's not nice, because it is messing with my growing season massively at the moment, because you've heard me speak constantly about consistency and momentum. The fact I don't like to use too much fresh water, it's going against everything. And I'm just at the point, I'd actually bought some brushes last week, and I was going to grind out and strip all the internals of the box out and just sit the brushes in. It's not a great flow, however, because there's not many ways for stopping water, for purging, all the rest of it. And that's what sent me off, just thinking, I need to figure something out here while I've got that stripped down, a complete refigurement of something more permanent, because it's shit. It is absolutely shit. Which brings me on to my whole thoughts around all of that. Chris has just had a good point there. Look, do you actually need drum filters and get the results? Could you get rid of them and up the fluid beds and go brush shape? Yeah, exactly that, Chris. So it's weird. They get you in a weird place, and I think this is what's happened. Like, you almost need. Now, there are benefits to cleansing the water to that degree when you're producing as much waste as I am. 100%. The issue, I'm going to balance this as well. Because of the testing with the ORs and one, and the way I've got that set up. But the big issue here, and this is where my gripes are coming in, is the, just to finish answering Chris's, no, we could do it. I've almost convinced myself, though, like, ooh, what if I've not got them big ponds? It's such incredible feed load. But it could be, I mean, what we've got to look at here is the mechanisms. Now, yes, they're removing shit from it constantly. And you could argue that without purging it, there's still some sediment getting built up in the drain. The Japanese have a quite similar methodology. It just happens once. It could happen twice a day. They go and pull a massive pipe out, get huge pressure, and completely clear that drain run and purge all the shit out of the pond once or twice a day, which is better than leaving it between maintenance, 2-3 times, once or twice a week. And then they feed, I've said this a few times, they feed the filters more through a side drain in, and their maintenance is much less frequent intervals, because it's just primarily biological in that part, or settlement. They use a lot of settlement because of the size of the filters. Now, I've not got a massive footprint to work in. I've been staring at it going, right, can I maybe build a little internal wall, lose a bit of that in there? There's other issues we're at this point, that because it was a retrofit before, the way the pumps sit in the bottom of the chambers, so access if there's ever an issue with the pump, several things. I'm not happy with the flow managing to pull through. Just as an example, and one of the gripes I'm gonna come to is that I can't pull one of the ponds, so it's 8,500 litre Aquamaxes on there generally. So if there's been any issues, and just lately as we've been in one, I've upgraded them to the new 13,500s. The fantastic output. Should be able to piss it through a single 4-inch feed system. It can't. Any pond where they are has to be knuckled right down. It's ridiculous. So with sort of that happening, this brings me to the sort of first gripe, and this is a lot of the way sort of drums I think have been sold to people, or missold is possibly for the word. The flow, I think Oaza, and I'm not being, because it's just the sort of feeling, had been criticised from what I can tell for quoting the lowest flow rates on the market. I'll tell you what they are. They're actually the most accurate flow rates on the market. Spoke to the guy I deal with over here, and the level of sort of insight they have into it as a product is phenomenal. And that's the reason. And I agree. There's not a cat in hell's chance. I think what's happening is most people building these drums are doing no testing. They're just going, right, that's got 2 4-inch inlets. That's roughly 18,000 litres through each one. So the capacity of this unit is 36,000 litres. They're on crack if they think that's the truth. They really are, because it's nowhere near to it. It's just not being pulled through and allowing it, that, you know, the motion of the drum, all the rest of it, it's not happening. So that's the first bit in all that. And I think there's got to be some wising up to what you can actually potentially put through these units. With the ORs one being clear, I think they quote it about 15,000 litres on certain ones, and I think they'd be absolutely, or they quote 15,000 litres on a 4-inch pipe. A lot are getting closer to 20, but that's the sort of capacity. I might need checking on that, but anyway, they're the lowest flows, and it is with absolute good reason. They just can't. The reality of all this is they can't keep up, and if anyone wants to argue with me, absolutely crack on. I've got now 9 of these things running, and it's not good. The next thing I think is, and I've said this before, is the way that they're quoted or not quoted in relation to the load they're going to be put under. Because with all this in mind, you know, when these, and the prime examples here, I've had ponds that have been started. So basically, you know, it might have been, the pond might have been stopped, sediment settled, the pond's been restarted, the sediment's been stirred up. The filter just gets the wife's on. That's what she was just texting me for. I've got a spawning. I've had a spawning of blue zebra angels at home, and there's loads. They're finally today. They've moved the eggs once, and they've actually all hatched. Amazing, good stuff. Can't wait to see them when I get back. The load on the drum is also a problem. So that I straight away, obviously a couple of years back, realized that these drums I sold based on the flow rates that they can't actually achieve are also no good for how hard they're getting hit. That's it. The drum is not big enough. It's causing it to clean too much. It's another problem. But who out there has any mentioning of the loading on a drum? I'm you know, if anyone does know and I'm wrong, please enlighten me, but I don't think there is anybody particularly doing that, which is then is another issue, and one that needs to be considered. It's just like with anything else, a UV, a heat pump, any of that stuff, you know, just when buying it on the limit, it's not easy. It's really it's potentially going to leave you up there. And you know, the difference generally between models I don't think is massive. It might be a bit more with OR. If I'm chatting shit there, I don't know, but you're already so far in. I won't want you to get it wrong. Then we have the actual setup of them, and this is what's causing me a little conundrum. The ORs are one outside, and this is where all the other bits, not enough of them fit a flush like the ORs one does. They need it. There's too much sediment settlement in that, and too much with the different inlets, the way they're set, potential for build up in there. The cleaning pumps are shite. They really are. The abuse they get here, they don't stand the test of time. I say I've got one being beaten by the snails at the minute because it's drawing from the so-called clean side of the drum. That's where they are, and it's getting tiny fragments of snail egg blocking the nozzles up. And again, people have said that the drum lovers, you know, in the past, I'll just draw it from a header tank full of clean water. That's just then it's another thing, another setup, another something. Was an internal cleaning pump. It's their own pump. It's built. I've even seen it's got some mesh around the outside. Been dreamy. And then the removable screens. That to me is just argument one in regards to what's the best one out there if you're considering it. But then moving into the actual setup part, and this is what gets me. So obviously the ones I'm talking about are gravity fed at the moment, and with all the sensors, there's not enough wiggle room in there before stuff can start going wrong. The one outside, there was one, I've got it set up pump fed. I mean, that's just it, isn't it? Because there's a bypass on there. If that drum's not working, the water can still pass round into bio and continue on with filtration. It does really highlight to you how much water they're using, which is another issue that I've got. But that aside, it's just different gravy, and seemingly the guys in Japan are already onto this. And when I speak to the guys at Oaza, it's just a bit of a no-brainer to sort of set them up that way. Just that obviously the gravity-fed system and setup is what we are completely accustomed to over here. And again, this is coming from a commercial sense, but what I want to point out here is the way I use stuff here puts it under levels of pressure and scrutiny that you guys might never get to. And, with seemingly more and more water problems raising their head, you've no control if that drum's cleaning and you're on auto top up or whatever it is. You've got to keep replenishing all that water or your system's going to fail. And if you aren't then treating all that water properly, you're going to be adding more and more of that shit water into your system, creating more problems down the line there as well. So lots and lots of stuff compounded. I hope there is balance to that now, because I have the Oaza one's been a breath of fresh air for me. The unit itself, I don't like. I mean, it's for me again. It's the small compact one I'm using, and fuck me, have I put that under some pressure. It's on about 1,200 gallons of water, and at one point, I think I had the system telling me I had 96 Nisai in there, some of them over 50 centimeters. So I've made that thing sweat. And I really have. Now, at that point, when I hit them with any considerable feeding, it doesn't like it. And I'm not surprised with that level of loading. But as it's eased back, it's been pretty cool. And I would prefer, some more bio, all the rest of it. But I know they're not quoting them for crazy big ponds. That being said, it has been under pressure and worked well, but I just think there needs to be more. A lot of these drums, they're expensive bits of kit, and I think you really need to, if you're new and you're considering what it is you're doing or what you're choosing, really take a long hard look at it. They're not maintenance free. You've got to get the right setup in order to mitigate against the potential problems that can come from it. That's in sizing, that's in, especially if you gravity feeded it, making sure you've got continuous water supply in there for it as well. Flow rates, designing the flow rates you want to achieve, because it might not just be a reality, and that's ultimately going to affect the size of the drum. You might need a lot to it. So right now I've got a blank canvas. I need to figure out where I'm going. I'm not ruling drums out, by the way, as I replace this. I am considering in the mix, is there a way I could get an Oaza pump fed in there that's almost running independent, just mechanically cleaning and separating the biological elements out. Loads and loads of different bits in the mix. So yeah, rant over. I think, but no rant continued. I think the manufacturers, setting Oaza aside, need to do better in a lot of all this stuff with their research and specs and all the rest of it. Test of time will be with the Oaza one, of course, but I'm obviously very familiar because I run all of their pumps across the site, and it is a brand that I do trust a great deal. There we go. So let me know, drum filters, are you having problems with them? Do you regret buying one? I know a lot of people are very happy with them. It's very, very different circumstances here, I am aware, but I think the very fact they're almost sold as a maintenance-free solution drives me a bit mad as well, because right now that greenhouse takes up more time on a daily basis than everything else combined, pretty much. When they work like the Oaza one I've got down there, that thing's not been touched other than opening the valve purge a couple of times in the 9 or 10 months that it's been running, which is cool. I've not even bothered to clean the screens; they're a mess, because I wanted to see exactly how it would get on. And been great. Not to say it won't. This is the thing in the back of my mind as well, is when the electronics start failing and bits like that, it's like, and there's always that potential. But as said, there's bypass options. That's got to be in there. There's got to be a fail safe that doesn't just shut the system down, in my opinion, with that one. So There we go. Now, before I get into anything else, ladies and gents, I don't know if you might be watching this on my platform or just live on YouTube. I have got an auction running over at rickystoddartnishkigoi.com. If I didn't put the QR code on, did I? It is over there. And yeah, they're ending from about 7:15 tonight. Lovely, some cracking Ikarashi Azumi pieces we featured on the live pondside sale last night, and some cracking value once again at the moment. So yeah, please take a look. I think links are in the description, but what I will do anyway is put the QR code on. That QR code there takes you directly to registration if you're not already registered on the platform, and there's a community chat over on there and a few more bits and bobs. And as a note as well, we will be on tomorrow, Thursday at 6 p.m. with a live pondside sale with some bigger, mainly some Tosai, some Nisai, few bits and bobs in there for that one. They're going to be coming, yeah, all fixed price as well, and some nice deals to be had because I need to get a bit of pond space sorted. There we go. Right, let's go to your questions now. I've got that rant. I can't remember what the other rant was at the minute. I've sort of red mist has phased me out a bit. Right. Oh, that was it. I don't know. I'm going to do some questions. Tell me if you want another rant. Additives. It's another one, and especially clays. Just additives in general, but clays. Let me know in the comments if you want another rant. You can have one. I'll do a few questions first, but. Madness. And just before I start, I'm going to have a look. So I've sent me a video of my my little fry. Oh yes, look at that. Oh, my little baby angel fish fry. They've done a cracking job of them. Cracking job. Right, let's do a few questions first, and then we'll rev the ramp machine up again. So let's roll through. I forget I'm going to do this bit. Good evening, all of you. Jason did a look of yes. I've still not got round to that though, mate. I'll come back to you, pal. Oh, here's Mickey. How are we doing, Mickey? Ricky, I know you talk about various breeders, but which Japanese breeder do you think is currently producing the most exciting koi, and what makes their bloodline stand out? I tell you what, right? This just for a bit of fun. Before I'm going to come back to that one, I'm going to write down, come back to Mickey's question. What do you guys think I'm going to say? Tell me in the comments. What do you think I'm going to say to this one? Let's see, and we'll go from there. Evening, pal. No questions from me for a change. Pond bill going well and putting everything I've learned from you into practice, keeping it simple, and the results are coming. Very glad to hear that, pal. Will the red and black koi technical Yamanagashi in the auction tonight evolve like a Benikamonryu? Yes, Ray, it's exactly what's basically baked into the genetics. If you imagine it's almost like a Matsukawa Baki or Benny Matsukawa Baki, something like that. That's the genetics that are in there, and it's exactly how it will behave. In fact, what I can probably do to give you all a bit of context. All right, let me just come back there. All right, here we go. Here we go. So I can just get to that fish just so you can see it. This is the auction that's currently live at the moment. You can see there's all sorts on there. But the fish you're speaking about is this one. Yamanagashi, wild thing. So they're attempting, I think I mentioned in my blurb, they're attempting to call them Black Dragon. Look here, that's been used too many times. It drives me mad, all that stuff. But what they basically are is a Wagoi, which is fully scaled Benikamonryu. at the heart of it. So those genes are all in there. They're a bit unhinged with the growth. You can see it's got this huge head, but the sumi intensity is so unbelievable on the fish. And the Benny is, I've had a few of these, sort of grown them through as well, and they've been pretty damn impressive. So yeah, there might be a bit of there's been a lot of interest in that. Be a bit of a scrap for that at the end. Evening from Norway. Evening from Holland. That's just Chris coming back to it. Do you actually need them? No, is the reality. But again, because I've had them, I genuinely have even got the seed of doubt in my head. Like, am I going to lose something from the performance of these ponds if I remove that aspect of it? Then the other side of me kicks in, where I go and look in my other greenhouse where there's the brush filtered biochambered pond, the fucking mad results I get in there, and go, well, you're absolutely bonkers, because the price disparity between the two as well, let's face it, is insane. Then I remember how the guys in Japan are doing it just with that standpipe, and it just makes sense. You know, other ideas I'm sort of with that in motion. You know, there's also a way, you know, you can look at potentially mechanically filtering the water on the way out, just to think this is what the likes of the Tempest is all about, potentially having I mean, I don't like bees, do I've said it, but that kind of idea, something catching water on the way. Because if you've got a fluid bed, if you're passing relatively clean water, so not directly from the bottom drain, say, you know, 2 feet off the bottom, a foot off the bottom, something like that, in little bit of settlement out there, or then into a fluid bed, that a fluid bed itself shouldn't allow sediment to settle. But if you can purge it and clear it, happy days. And then just catching more particulate on the way out, in the end you're going to get the same results, because ultimately when you look at the theories of it, mechanical filtration from the likes of K1, so a biological based mechanical filter, one to get your head around, can filter down to a micron. You know, drum filter can't do that. So all we're talking about here is wanting to get the heavy sediment out as much as we can. It can be done with a standpipe, and I'm talking myself into that right now. Just seems to make sense, other than spending all of that money on them. And that is another part of this. You know, if I start looking at that now and looking down there, it's going to be one of the bigger Oaza ones, even for me, because there is not a lot in the things. We are talking tens and tens of thousands, and I don't think I'm down for it, to be honest. We're much better spent elsewhere, and ultimately what will be the difference in the results. I am from an era of koi keeping where we produce mechanically, you know, clarity of a superb level using multi-bays and all the different tricks and whatnots that we had, and you know, doing some pretty insane stuff. So yeah, I think I need to keep that in mind. I would have preferred a Nexus if I wasn't for the footprint. Yeah, and that's another bit I get for you guys. That's different for me here. Footprint is a massive element. I get that, but that doesn't stop me giving you the information and you translating it through to your level. And you know, at the end of the day, I ain't trying to sell you anything other than fish. So when it comes to that equipment, it's based on my experience and my findings. Hey, Ricky from Colorado in the US, what would you recommend for getting my koi condition for a koi show, feeding rate, types of food, etc.? Thank you for all the information, legend. Feeding rate, yeah, tricky. So a proper program should be mapped out over multiple months, half a year, maybe even a year, depending on the needs of the fish. The needs of the fish might vary. Just to sort of generalize, 18 degrees is a great conditioning temperature, because what you want to do is, if a fish is lacking body, say you want to get that extra 10% ready for a show, you've got to get that into them. So that's growth. Once you've got that done, you've got to work on the color, you know, and then working on the color, you then got to probably work on the chirurgeon. When it gets up to show time, you've got to be massively reducing that feed down. And what you don't want to do as well, because you're going to have a period of starvation prior to the show of a week, as you're reducing all that feeding down, you don't want to burn off that extra 10%. Hence, the 18 degrees is really ideal for slowing that metabolism down, getting everything in really great conditioning all three colors up. So yeah, types and diets as well. That will all depend on what I've just said there. Growth, color foods, depending on where you're at. But don't leave it too soon. Show preparation is not even a month before. You're already too late at that point, in my opinion. So yeah, and then the timing of the show, which is, I know, an ongoing issue. It's a massive issue over here, can often massively collide with just your general growing season as well. It's a tough one. Hi, Ricky. I moved to Sakikari Grove from colour a month ago, and now I'm getting a lot of protein on the surface. It disappears while the koi. Oh, excuse me. It comes back overnight. Any ideas? I get the same thing. It's an intense, aggressive food. As a growth food, I expect it from growth foods. To be honest, oh shit, I got hiccups now. That's not ideal. I would just say straight away, don't worry about it. Crack on. How are you fish feeding? Get the summer done, then pull it in. If anything, though, you just maybe look at your mechanical filtration side, maybe changing a bit more water. But it's yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask in relation to it, because right now, just crack on, get that down, and get your growth done, and worry about the rest of the stuff after. You might naturally find they've potentially been eating more. They do absolutely love the stuff, which might cause a bit of an impact. But I think this is a worry for me in regards to right now. Summer for me is about getting results and not keeping it looking like a show pond, so to speak, or keeping the fish in kind of show condition. You're getting the job done at this point, which might mean you might lose the Shiroji, you might lose a bit of clarity. Get the job done. I'm doing my own Taniguchi golden corn grow on. I got it at 2025 now 13 inch. Sounds very, very good to me. Sounds like you're doing very well. I use a Profi-Clear compact, and it's fine in hindsight. I should have got a bigger one, but I'm going to add another fluid bed later this year. Yeah, I think is that in relation to the biological side of it more there, Joe? Possibly. Drums should be under $1,000. Yeah, 3, 4, 5 grand is ridiculous. I don't know what goes into making them. I agree, though, it is fucking ridiculous, because the problem is, if you're starting a new pond out, this is why I asked you to question it. Because if the reality is you've got enough budget there for a drum, is it still the best way of spending it? Because you look at your combined system, right? I'm having that drum. You've got your bio side, but that drum means right now I can't have a heat pump, or I can't maybe add that shower filter or whatever it is. Then I've just started off thinking about this rant that's incoming. If that's the point, then yeah, I mean, I'd much rather be carving out part of that budget and saying, fuck the drum, put a heat pump on so I can heat in summer. Because having that and that level of control over round to the benefits of your pond and your koi keeping journey will be disproportionately better. So yeah, they are wild. Right, you're all encouraging me to rant on, and you've all guessed it right. So let's just come back to Mickey's question first. Mickey asked me, now you talk about various Japanese breeders. Who do you think is currently producing the most exciting koi, and what makes their bloodline stand out? And most of you have said Taniguchi, from what I can see, and that absolutely was the first name that came to mind, 100%, because he. I mean, we talk about exciting, right? I'm sat here, and I think this often. I'm always looking. I'm looking on to next year already, even though we're deep into this. Is what's going to get me interested? What's going to spike my interest right now that I'm going to go all out after and chase and think, yeah, this is going to be good fun. This is going to be interesting. Now, obviously, Sakai, take Sakai out of the equation. That they're hindered a little bit really by the fact it's primarily 2 varieties, apart from when they do the mango stuff. Their breeding operation is always interesting because they're always doing something and tinkering. And then I look to more some of the unusual varieties and bits going on. I just think, yeah, some of the feeble attempts at some of those kind of Nagata guys sometimes wasn't, yeah, I don't know. The feeble attempts, I think, in comparison, they don't get the same depth into the bloodlines. And so it brings me to Taniguchi. So obviously right now here I've got a batch. If it's still unnamed, I'm going to keep calling them Aragoke because when you see them, that's the first thing that will come to mind. But there's a lot of stuff in there. And there's a lot of kind of Kikukuryu, Komonryu blood base, which is right, given the pairing. So this is from his pairing of 90 cm Matsukawa Baki, his bloodline, and a Kikukuryu, which is of Dainichi Botan origin. So without saying too much more, that to me, and what he's done there instantly is packed and full of powerhouse growth genetics. And you can see it in them. They're just going to be absolutely wild. And that's amazing. They're cool. There's so many different variants, color variants. He'll have a bigger picture in his head. I'm trying to get it out of him. I ain't getting any joy. I know he's produced them again this year, but he's always tinkering with something. Whatever it is, I always have to ask, what you done. He's now got these crazy golden corn genetics. Golden corn's evolving all the time. Mickey just asked me down there if there's a new variant. Not a new variant. He's on the 3rd generation. So that's basically now his continuation of bloodline, solidifying traits, characteristics. And this year he's just decided that, the white base one, the really Kanoko, is going to be the one for him. So, and I just think it's done. There's everything he's doing with such quality behind it, making sure he gets the growth, the body, everything that's still massively important to succeed in Japan at a high level. He's ticking all them boxes and doing it right, and always seeming, it must be through his own intrigue or whatever to be there, look, creating something more. He had an attempt last year saying he wanted to make a Char Utsuri. I think he's sort of skipped away from that one quite quickly. But he's trying, and as they build up this pool of fish, when he's got the creative brain he has, they can start doing more and more and more. And I love it. There's just always something down there, and you think, and I always ask that question, bloodline, speak to me. And there's always something quirky in there. Even back just to his Gosanki, the fry I was culling with him were a cross. I can't remember the exact parent, but it was a new cross, and he crossed Sakai with Dainichi, Kowaku crossed with Sankei. And there were two. It was really interesting. Apologies, I am not committed it to memory. I think the Golden Corn took over when I got stuck into them. But yeah, it's exciting. Is a hell of a farm, and that's not forgetting now the amount of different stuff he's producing. The Showa line is now reworked from the Ueno base that is using Ueno cross Sekiguchi. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, for me, I think that's really, obviously Aoki does some interesting stuff. The yellow dragon bit hadn't really clicked with me. I was onto that a while back when I had a big run with Aoki fish, and I think the issue for me with them is short-lived because you don't get the growth, and they've not got the same body type, which is why you can't get the growth. So when I'm looking at fish at the serious level, I just think no, there's not the same level of substance behind it there. So yeah, Mr. T all the way. And Mickey's right, he's like a mad scientist. The lads here, and a lot of people who know say he's like a brother from another mother for me, who is with how he is. And I don't know if it's public, but he's got a massive expansion on the way, so which is amazing because he's consumed another local breeder in his entirety. I'm a bit worried for him. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit worried for him because I know him what he's like, and when he was talking to me about it, I'm like, you're gonna have to really staff up to look after all this. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see the mad scientist, but that's how you answer. That's my answer to that one, Mickey. 100%, no doubt about it. Right. Let's have a look. Oh, well, that's it. We're back to rant, aren't we? So I let this one loose on TikTok the other day. I can't remember what I'd seen that sort of triggered me. Clays. That's it. It was clays, which just gets me onto the whole thing. But clays. When the fuck? Why is there nearly a new 1 or 2 new clays coming out every year, and companies now finding the need in order to make it something new, fucking around with them, mixing different shit in, taking it away from what it was and what it should have always been. And I can't pronounce it. It's that word that begins with M. Is it Mama Terralite? Oh, fuck it. I'm not even going there. Just a high quality one of those, which is what it was always supposed to be. Great for the just conditioning up, fish getting it on the digestive tract, good flocculant in the water, amazing. And now I've seen, it's the first time I've seen it, because I know this particular one's doing the rounds. Drum safe. Oh, fucking hell. Drum safe. And it got me thinking, because I hear this a bit, and when I hear stuff, I think, what's the reality here? Because I'm living that same reality. Like, my drum strips it all out. Now, if that were the case, when I've used clays and I've seen them bypass through the drum into all the next stages of the filter, it would be stripped out completely, instantly, not get through within turnover once an hour, pretty much it would have been cleared. So the fact I've got clay in water for so much longer, and I literally see it in the rest of the system, goes, oh, anyway, that's a madness. But that aside, it is just this need to fuck around with stuff, complicated, because in a commercial world, then, it's this, we've added this, maybe we can get away with charging a bit more or making out it's something fancier than it's not. It's just so unnecessary. This whole debate around clay. I mean, back in the day, we used to have, it was Kusori clay or Refresh. Refresh was a different animal, but I know that's because of where the clay was derived from. It wasn't pissed around with, phenomenal stuff. And then the way it was processed. And it just, it's blowing my mind. That's not without all the other additives I just keep seeing. We've got ponds that seem to be on life support of all this shit being added on a weekly basis. What is that all about? If you're having to use something all the time like that to keep your pond in check, clearly, fundamentally, in your pond, something's not working. Something can be rectified or changed to fix it and save the need for it. And I've never slagged clay off because I like clay. I don't use it religiously. Sometimes I go on a bit of a thing of using it, then don't. But past experience, I've been a lot more religious with it. Had a lot of clients using it religiously. It's it's a good one when it's great. But all this faffing and prattling around with them, I just find it insane. It's like the clay market's becoming like the fish food market, and the rest of the additive market, something new for a problem that you've not got. Then your pond's hooked on it. While you're adding all this stuff in, you're constantly changing the environment and the ecosystem, and potentially pissing your fish off, creating your center stress or a problem, all the rest of it. I just find it bonkers. And if I was doing something different myself, you would get to know about it. But all that's being done, and this is what blows my mind, there'll be money being spent on additives, shit being put into cleanse water, detoxify water, whatever it is. Spend all that money over a year on this stuff. And yet when, I'll be on here saying, I really advise you get your water tested at a lab, so you actually know what you're dealing with on your incoming source water in relation to metals, all the rest of it, so you can set up your incoming purification properly and actually fix a problem permanently, or have a decent solution to it. And that costs, I think that test I recommend, Iverio home test, the big one's about 130 quid. Fucking hell, I don't want to be spending 130 quid on a test like that. I mean, seriously, it is remarkable. And I've known this for years. This goes back to my days working in my dad's shop. You had people driving into the shop with a sample of water to pay 2 or 3 quid we charged to do a nitrite and pH test or whatever it was. And a fucking test kit was like 7 or 8 quid for each parameter. It blows. And you'll spend all the money on the fish. And this is not everybody, but there is a percentage, all the money on the fish. And 130 quid for 130 quid doesn't buy you much of a fish. And you pay it, you do it once, if you really want to splash out, do it twice. Do the pond and the mains water and know if there's any difference between the two. Remarkable. It really is. So, and all that, I just think you need to reconsider where it's being spent. And that money, on all this shit you throw in your pond, that money could go towards the running cost of a heat pump. Keep your pond at a consistently good warm temperature over summer. And guess what? The whole thing will be a lot breezier anyway. You'll have better filter performance. Your fish's immune system firing better. Or take that money and use a better food, which will give better nourishment, or even better, do both. And it will change your hobby rather than having your pond hooked on this supply of shit that is, I just find it boggling. It's no joke. There's 40, nearly 50 ponds in operation here, heaving with fish, and you see where it is. I've got my heat control. I know the incoming water's in good order. I know I'm not riddled with heavy metals, and I spend the money on my beloved sake akari, the food, and get it out that way. And you've all seen what I produce. Anyway, there's a side of the hobby I can't argue with. So many of you guys seem to like tinkering and changing and doing, but I'm not that. I've built a philosophy over 2.5 decades just about of, it is actually a bit more, of a vast experience and refining processes and building it out to find and get something that works. So why do I want to fuck about with it? I don't. That's exactly where I'm at. I don't want to mess around with it. So, and it doesn't involve any of all this crap. No digital testers, just money. You can far better spend it elsewhere. I ain't going to start on the old food side of it. Although I don't know if I should. Why not? But fucking hell. I mean, what is it? We're on to another new... we are. Let's just do it. Another new food. Another new fucking miracle ingredient that, a breeder... I mean, why would a breeder lie about it? It's not like they could potentially accept a briefcase full of money to say we're using this and we think it's fantastic. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that. People aren't like that in this world. But fucking hell, I mean... Just constantly. And, when you've got something that's working for you, well, if you need to change, I get it. If you need to change because, i.e., you're on sake and it's too expensive, I get it. I 100% get it. But it's when the change comes just because, something's grabbed your attention. And the likelihood is you're never going to get any better results than where you're at. Those results would come from changing other stuff within your system. And yeah. Crazy. There we go. Right. Sorry, guys. I've not done many questions, have I? You see the difference here between an hour in where I'm at? Crazy, isn't it? I will get, I can actually feel, the change in my eyes a little bit. Right. Let's have a look. I'll have a bit more water for now. There we go. Look at you all encouraging me. Here we go. Let's have a look. Even Ricky, having issues with my pH, it fluctuates between 8.7 and 9. Well, that's a normal fluctuation. you're going to get that. Ammonia and nitrite are 0 and KH is 6. So are we... there's no cement leaching. I've carried out large water changes. Incoming pH is 8. I'm not... I mean, yeah, it's on the high end. Incoming at 8. Not ideal. You're going to struggle pulling that. Your fluctuation's not a problem. That's completely normal. The big thing with pH for reassurance is stability. Even if it's on the higher range, the lower range, whichever it is, when you've got stability, pH is an issue. That swing, you're going to get that normally through biological activity. And generally, biological activity will affect pH values as well, which is why it's different in your pond to in your tap when there's nothing leaching, of course, is a massive one. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about where you're at. I mean, the question I'd fire back to you on that is, how are your fish? That's where I'm going to go with that one. How are your fish? And that fluctuation is not a thing at all. Oh, Jason, I think that's two of you trying to wind me up here. It is two of you. Let's do this one first. I've just finished potassium permanganate treatment on my pond. It's 20C. How long will it normally take before filters and pond are back in normal operation? Depends how hard you've hit it, is the one. I mean, normal operation, are your parameters all right? We're just presuming a load of stuff here. I mean, it clearing through, you'd probably expect 24, 48 hours for it to have cleared through with a couple of filter flushes. But depends if it's actually even affected your biological filter action. Only you'll be able to tell us that one. I don't know if I want to go there. You know, the amount of times I have stopped myself going on such a fucking onslaught at the bullshit of that. Because it actually the stuff related to all that completely discredits both filter materials that in their own rights can be good. Just how they're being sold and how other amazing systems are having the finger fucking pointed at them when most people don't struggle with them just in order to upsell the benefits, when in reality it's probably something else broke in the system, like a fucking UV or something like that. But I know, let's change this filter, massively downgrade the biological capacity, and it'll all be great. It could even be the maintenance regimes that could be it. Certainly just ain't the systems. I fucking know it. But the way that's being put, just for somebody else once again to sell the shit they're selling, fucking drives me mad. And there you go. Should do it, shouldn't I? I'd literally have the thing fucking melting. Absolutely melting. Is there any need to go above 25C ever? No, absolutely not. Yeah. I mean, what I would probably say there is if you can't see the difference, you probably might as well save your money and buy the Taikoi. There's my political answer on that one. Any Karashi? Yes, I have got some lovely Saito ones that are queuing up, waiting for a growing pond at the moment. There you go. It really is. The Nexus has stood the test of time, and I've got no time for anyone slagging them off. Stood the test of time, bomb proof. You get that thing set well, it's superb. Yes, obviously seemingly maintenance of having to stop and start the water and open an air valve has become too much for some people. Yeah, what can I say? But other than that, yeah, and it's amazing how that's another thing, right? How the word finds, when I see it, the definitions, people's definitions of fine. I've seen videos of people saying I've got fines in the water, and what they've actually got is particulate in the water, quite sizable ones. Fines cause water clouding, is how I've always known it from back in the day. We had fines in a pond, we'd stick some fucking filter wool in a bay filter. Within 24 hours, it'd clog up. Within a week, you'd just keep changing it, and bosh, those fines would be gone. Crazy. I find mine need more maintenance than old Nexus. Will just pump out the bio unit just because the electronics with float switches have deemed there's a problem. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Evening, Ricky and all. 100% recommend the Vario lab test. Want a peace of mind that the liquid dechlorinate conditioner was doing the job. So I had the pond tested. Yeah, there you go. It is literally that, peace of mind. Well done, Joe. Stop tinkering when you chatted to me at one of your event meals, and then Emma telling me, I told you so. Good old Emma. Brilliant. UVs. We like a UV. I've done a little UV video earlier, haven't I? And that was actually, this one will make you laugh. I fucking love the, obviously there's a lot of experts around. And what I actually shared, I just shared a little video of we've been servicing UVs, and as I'm teaching Nath as we're going round, I was like, just, you need to make sure you service the quartz sleeve. Most have been all right. A pond we're really struggling with here, it was cacked up. Biofilm, then obviously catching algae and all the rest of it. Thought, you know what, good time for a TikTok. So a lot of people, I remember from good old shop days, a lot of people still don't know that when you change your bulb, you should take your sleeve out and just clean it down, because obviously ultimately it could be trying to shine through something cacked on it. And here we go. Been keeping koi for 37 years. I love that one. That one's tickled me for years. Never seen a quartz tube so dirty. I wonder how many's been seen in 37 years. And filter system that has not been maintained regularly. I didn't reply. Fuck it now. I know, honestly, I love it. Do love it. Let's have a look. Oh, here we go. That's back to the pH one. Fish have a mixed reaction to, for large ones eat, small tend to shy away. There's a flash every now and again, but it's not consistent. It's great to come back clear. Fish don't swallow the pond. I think you're barking up the wrong tree with your pH on that one. And again, what I'd say there in that one is from kind of things you're describing. I mean, fish not eating, different behaviors can be the mixed pond. It could also potentially be worth looking deeper at your water, because some of the things you are describing there can be issues in line with a particular metal being of a wrong level in your pond or something like that. So, and could be bigger, broader things in your system. I don't think it's your pH for a moment. I've got enough on here at minute, Robert, to be honest, mate. We are thinking of what else. So yeah, when we've got we're on top of everything, which we're getting closer every day. If my ponds weren't all falling apart, then we'd have got a lot closer. But I'm just gonna go, because I know someone left a question over on the platform if they joined us on there. Oh, there we go. There's one. Just banana. Done me a solid, pal, talking about KH the other week. I didn't know anything about it, but it saved me an absolute nightmare. Yeah, KH is a massive one. It really is, just like the glue of your whole system. And oh, here's one. That's a very interesting one. What are your thoughts on modern mechanical filtration? Oh, there we go. Impacting bio home growth. They seem almost too effective, which slows biome development. Wonder what your opinions are on your brush filters versus drum filters. I think there's a part of that I probably don't need to go over again. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, the brushes, can't knock them. They are so effective. It's just obviously the cleaning side of it's different, and getting the setup side of it right, getting the right brushes in the right place. There's obviously different grades of them as well. But they do the job. They really do the job. But yeah, I agree. I think systems overall, you guys, a lot of you are keeping them too sterile. Scrubbing them filters down inside. You know, what you're scrubbing away there is all that biome. It's that biofilm. It's all an ecosystem. And you got to keep it sterile looking. It's not that. The thing that will mess your system up, and this happened a lot back in the days with multi-bays and people not understanding. If you remember how the Courtney Coy one dropped to the bottom with the flushers, people wouldn't twig you needed to clean past the brushes. And what would happen is you'd get this shit build up, drop down. That would ferment itself over time and turn into an anaerobic shit show. And then obviously the whole pond environment tips, and before you know it, boom, you've got a problem. I mean, the sulfur you can smell on some of them over the years I've come across was frightening. That just doesn't generally happen in modern systems. I don't think it's happened as much since the Nexus, because all of a sudden that changed the game, because you know, the way it cleans, people are cleaning them more effectively. Shit can't really bypass into heavy shit can't get into the bio, and if it does, it generally gets knocked back into circulation. You've not got medias where you've just got horrible settlement sitting on top of everything. You've got this amazing fluid bed that's regenerating itself. Bad bacteria or dead bacteria is being knocked off and away. Just different. I think a lot changed over that time. Then it's gone on to that next level with the drums, and yeah, I think too much is generally getting stripped away. Remember, a lot of that stuff is the food for the biological chain, but I'm not talking about pumping heavy sludge into it. No, not at all. But I do think, amongst other things, it creates potential knock-on issues in that the way that some of these combis, I mean, we haven't even got onto that, are them drum combi systems, fucking hell, madness. You know, the way the diffuser design, absolutely knocking the shit out of your fluid beds, and then the size of them as well. There's just, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it? So yeah, I do think there's sense in that statement. We're taking your advice and kept one of our ponds a little green, and the fish, the colours are just amazing with no issues with the skin. Very glad to hear it. And at that, I have hit the bottom. Not surprising that viewer numbers are with Pete. We just hit 100 concurrent viewers at the moment, obviously a bit earlier. But I think you all might agree, very different energy at this point. So I think we might be making it the 6 o'clock slot. So what we will do there is I'll try and make sure I get the stream up in advance, because if you can't make it for 6, you can post a question in there and leave it sat, or try your best to get along. But I can feel the drop off a bit now. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed that episode. Just before you do all vanish, I would like to remind you that, let me just load this up. I currently have got an auction running. You can see the live community chat there as well. Let me just close that down. Let's have a look. Yes, we've got an auction, and those lots are ending starting from 10 minutes time. Some great value there. Look, these are Zumi Tosai being epic. Absolutely epic. Such a nice mix for your weird and wonderful lovers. Some great value to be had in there. The platform is all, you can use the QR code above, get yourself registered. Like I say, right now, look what you could do. This is on any device. You can have your whatever live stream we've got running. You can commute or talk in the live chat, or you can have that live running while you're browsing away, look, and you fish. And what you can also do is actually stream that down. You'd have the audio at this point, but it's out your way, so you can see what's going on there with them. I think all these are set up with, yes, they've got our anti-snipe extension enabled. So in the last 3 minutes, if somebody bids, it'll add 3 minutes on, and auto bidding is on there as well. So yes, best of luck if you're involved in that one. I think Ray is by the looks of it. Lynn says better watching than 6 p.m. news. I'll take that. Ray, the question is, how does the earlier time work for you? Yeah, exactly. I think I'm sort of feeling it because it's got done here. I can go home now and eat, and then probably likely pass out. However, look, Arthur's jumped in comments, all these different usernames he's got around. Arthur would just like me to give a shout out to his TikTok. He's set a TikTok up for his fish tanks. He's just got himself some shrimp. You'll see a bit from our fish house as well. And let's have a look. Can't remember what it's AJ's Aquatics at Arthur.Stoddart8. If you're on TikTok, I'll get him a shout out now. If you go over and follow him, I'm sure he would absolutely love that. He's all over it. Looking comments. Legend. Right, I'm going to get off, folks. Yes, the question is, it does work well. And what the fuck is that absolute retarded comment? You are getting banned and delete their comments. Fucking unbelievable, some people. If you saw that, that is just the sheer stupidity that does exist out there. Unreal. Right, there we go. Enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. And don't forget, tomorrow, 6 p.m, there will be another live stream, pondside sale. We've got some cracking deals on some bigger bits. So happy days. That's actually coming together really well, all that side of it. And then we'll be putting our Sunday night live bits together. Happy days. Cheers, folks. And I'll catch you tomorrow, maybe. Enjoy the auction.